Hello and welcome to Talking Tullahoma. I'm your host, Kelly Lepchinsky, and with me today, we've got an award-winning bluegrass artist, Becky Buller, also a local artist, no less. So first of all, welcome in. Hello, good to have you.
Hey, Kelly, thanks for having me.
All right, so tell us exactly why you are making the rounds right now. You've got a new album coming out, right?
I have a new album coming out. That's not coming out till July. We're still finishing it up right now, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But the main reason I'm here is because my band is coming to South Jackson Civic Center on March 7th at 7 p.m., and we just want to get the word out about that and let everybody know. Two of us in the band are local here to Coffee County. Daniel Harden on the bass. He works over at Jack Daniels and lives just outside of Tullahoma, and I live in Manchester.
Good deal. Now, obviously, we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on, but let's let people get to know you, kind of to start off with. You were originally born, if I've got this right, it was Minnesota?
Minnesota. Oh, yeah.
The accent, yeah. And you actually picked the fiddle, if I understand, because your parents played. Your dad was mandolin, your mom was guitar.
Oh, you've done your homework.
Yeah, you wanted to do the bluegrass thing, and you can't just sing in a bluegrass band, right?
That is so true. Yeah, most of the time, it's not always this way, but most of the time, everybody in a bluegrass band plays something. And my parents were part of a band called Prairie Grass. The whole time I was growing up, it was my mom on guitar, my dad on mandolin, and Gordy and Roxy Schultz on banjo and bass, respectively. And I really wanted to sing in the band. And they told all of us kids, if you want to play in the band, you're welcome to, but you'll have to practice, and you'll have to play something. And so I looked at the lineup of the band, and at that point I wasn't aware of the dobro or resophonic guitar. And I was like, okay, you don't have a fiddle, I'll play fiddle. And they're like, okay. And it took about a year to convince them I was serious about it. And then they got me Suzuki violin lessons in Mankato, Minnesota, and I was part of the Mankato area youth symphony up there. But the entire time I was learning violin, I really wanted to do fiddle. And I feel so lucky now that I learned both disciplines at the same time. I was learning the bluegrass stuff with my family band, and then from records and on my own. And then my violin teacher knew that I really wanted to do that's where my heart was. And so she would teach me some fiddle tunes along the way. She was an amazing teacher, Patty Trias at the Mankato Suzuki School of Music. Anyway, but I think it's really helped me as I've became an adult and a professional musician, and I've done a lot of teaching. I just finished up teaching at a camp in Alabama this past weekend, and I'm able to draw from both disciplines. I've got all the ear training and improv skills from bluegrass music, but then I have that wonderful classical technique that probably doesn't show as much as it ought to. I do have some bad habits I've developed, along the way too. But when I graduated from high school, I came down to Tennessee to go to school at East Tennessee State University and be part of their bluegrass and country music program. So that's what moved me down to Tennessee, and then after graduating there, I took a job with a band here in Middle Tennessee and have been here ever since.
Now, see, I think it's interesting you used a word, and you used it twice, and it's an important word because a lot of people don't realize the violin and the fiddle are the same instrument.
Exactly.
It's a matter of how you play
and
it.
There's all sorts of jokes about that. People ask me what the difference is between them, and usually I'll say attitude. They'll just kind of look at me and blink, But really, yeah, it's just two different styles. My fiddle is set up like a classical player, maybe slightly lower action, which is, the how far the strings are off the neck. But other than that, it's pretty much a classical setup. A lot of times, old-timey fiddlers will have a flatter arch to their bridge because they want to hit those double stops. And I have the arch to it here like a classical player because I want to play, cleaner single notes as well as the double stops. But yeah, it's just how you play it. They're just two different styles of music, and to me, there's only two kinds of music: good, music that speaks to me and music that doesn't.
Right.
So,
now
I love to listen to lots of stuff.
Oh, you mentioned you came down to Tennessee to go to the college and get into the bluegrass program. The thing, though, if I understand it correctly, that kept you in Tennessee is now your husband.
Yes, I married a Coffee County boy. My husband, Jeff Haley, has lived in Manchester his entire life. We're probably related to most of the town. And he works out at Arnold's Air Force Base.
And he was running a radio show, I think, at one point,
Yes,
right?
he was. At WMSR, we had the Bluegrass Crossroads show with us and a couple other friends, and it was really fun. He brought me in there when we were dating, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I took it over and really tried to build it up and you know, have guest artists in there. And, you know, we became a charting show, you know, so that we would help people out with the radio airplay charts and things. I really enjoyed it. I had to give that up when our daughter started school because it was just too much.
And your daughter, Romy, now is 6 years old?
She is 6. She's about to be 7, going on 30 or something. Yeah, it's just incredible to watch her grow. And I still every so often will look at her and say, wow, you're talking to me in complete sentences that mostly make sense. Oh, you know.
And tell us how she got her name.
Well, it was the strangest name that Jeff could come up with. At the time we were trying to pick out baby names, and he kept coming up with things that were popular circa 1980, you know, like Stephanie and Jennifer. And I'm like, I want something different, but not too different. You know, it'll kind of a little weird, but not too weird. And that was the weirdest name he could come up with. That's actually, she's actually named after the wife of a good friend of ours from Huntsville, Alabama, Rick Rorex. Wonderful mandolin player. His wife is named Romy. It's spelled exactly like Romy. Jeff remembered the pronunciation wrong, but I like it, Romy.
See, I had heard the tale that she was named after Romy and Michelle,
well,
the movie.
Yes, there's a little bit of that. I had to watch the movie Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion because just to make sure that I really did like that name. And I found out after we named her that it was a diminutive of Rosemary, which I don't know, maybe I would have gone that route, you know, and then called her Romy for short. But yep, she's Romy Elizabeth.
Okay, good deal. Now, we mentioned also the radio show. Now, that takes us in two directions. First of all, you said you took over the show. I know one of your guests was actually someone that sort of bridged the gap between you being the singer-songwriter, or more of the songwriter, and not having the confidence maybe to go out and start your own band, to really getting there and getting out there on your own. And I think you were mentioning before we went to air that you had interviewed her, and she was a good interview guest. Tell us a little bit about
Rhonda Vincent. Yes, Rhonda is she's a hero and a mentor to me. She's the queen of bluegrass music, and she works so hard at everything she does. I just found out the other day she does all her own accounting because that's what her degree is in. I was like, wow. I have a whole nother level of respect for you. But she recorded one of my songs way back when in the early 2000s, one of my first cuts. And it's, if I have a greatest hit at all, it's Fishers of Men, and it's because Rhonda Vincent recorded it twice, actually. And a lot of churches have picked that up to use whenever that verse comes up in, you know, the Sunday lesson. And I'm just so grateful to her for all her encouragement. She was on my last record. She sang a duet with me called Calamity Jane, and the song did really well. It was nominated for some awards, but I've just really appreciated her as an artist. I saw her band when I was a kid, so I've, you know, followed her for a long time, but also as a mentor to me, because, you know, now I'm my own artist and I have questions, and she is one of my go-to people when I'm like, oh, what should I do? And then she'll say, well, what would Dolly Parton do? And I'd say, yep, I need to get that t-shirt.
Well, now sort of lead us there. Songwriting is really where you got, obviously you were working with your parents as a kid to do the Prairie Grass Band, but you sort of got into the business and really made it your own songwriting, right? Yeah,
I mean, I've you know, played for different groups. Valerie Smith and Liberty Pike was the group that brought me to Middle Tennessee. Played for Darren and Brooke Aldridge for a while, but all along I've been writing songs. As long as I can remember, I've been writing songs, and I really feel like it's my therapy and my way of dealing with the world and you know, getting away from the world sometimes. I love doing it. I still write a lot on my own, but I do a lot more co-writing now in the last many years. Because life is so busy, especially now that on top of everything else, I'm, you know, touring as my own artist and with my own band, and that brings another level of responsibility that takes me away from the songwriting. But I'm trying really hard to make that kind of my day job through the week, where I either write on my own or I get with somebody maybe for, you know, a few hours in the morning and write either in person or or online over Skype or FaceTime. Or text message. I have one co-writer. He and I we were texting back and forth, and I loved it because I was getting my house clean and my laundry done while I'm writing a song with Eli. It was great, you know. So I'm just, you know, sometimes over email, I'm just figuring out different ways. I love the technology we've got now. It's made the world so much smaller and easier to connect with folks, to collaborate, and you know, all the fans on social media. I've had a lot of fun with that too.
Well, good, and we'll talk about some more ways that fans can get involved and how you can see them here in town at the South Jackson Civic Center when we come back after this break. Hey, welcome back to Talking Tullahoma. I am Kelly Lepchinsky, your host, and I'm here today with an award-winning bluegrass artist. In fact, I think 8-time winner of an International Bluegrass Music Association award, including making history in 2016 as the first person to win both a vocal and an instrumental Best of award, and named Fiddle Player of the Year, I think the same year.
Yes, yeah, that's just wild. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it.
There you go. So, and we're going to get to see that right here in town. We have brought in to join us on this segment Greg Gressel, the chairman of the South Jackson Civic Center, which is the venue that will be hosting Becky Buller's band.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the event and how you got that set up.
We're super excited about that. Well, you heard earlier, we consider Becky hometown, so we're excited when we have the opportunity to be able to bring her to South Jackson, and so we had this opportunity. We've probably had this lined up for a little over a year now to bring her in at this point. So I think it's kind of cool that the first single is going to drop, and some other things are going to be happening right after this this time. But March 7th, 7 p.m. at South Jackson, we will have Becky and the band, and we're just looking very forward to it. So.
Good deal. Now, you mentioned the first single is going to drop, and I think we sort of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah,
but let's
we
talk
alluded
about
to it.
dates and videos.
Yeah,
and
so the whole album is coming out July 17th, and we'll be doing a release party at the Station Inn in Nashville for that. But more immediate, we have the first single coming out on March 27th. It's called The Barber's Fiddle, and it's a song that I wrote with my friend Linda Dawson from Raleigh, North Carolina. There's some truth to it, and then, you know, we kind of took liberty a lot in there, but we've got a lot of special guests on it. It's going to be a big deal, so please keep an eye on the socials, all the socials, for information about that. But we filmed a music video that's also going to be coming out March 27th with the single, and we filmed that at Cutshaw's Barbershop in Manchester with a bunch of local celebrities. So you don't want to miss that.
Oh, nice. I look forward to seeing that. Now, you mentioned special guests also for the release. Now, I don't want to make you let any cats out of the bag that you can't, but I'm going to forward a guess about who I think it might be, and we'll just let it die. But we'd like to talk about this group, whether it is them, because you are a member of the First Ladies of Bluegrass, and it is a group of ladies who were all the first to win in their respective categories. The first, like you, the first female to win Fiddle Player of the Year, the first banjo player, the first mandolin player. Sierra Hull, a lot of people might know.
Yes.
They might know the other ones as well. They're escaping me at the time. I think Allison Brown,
Allison Brown
banjo.
on banjo, Missy Raines, first female bass player of the year and reigning bass player of the year.
Nice.
And then Molly Tuttle on the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So
Molly
yeah,
Tuttle.
we call it a unicorn band because we all have our own things going and our own groups and busy touring schedules. So it's really rare that we get together to do something musically. We got to play at the Country Music Hall of Fame. That's what that picture is you're looking at right now. That was back in December. And then in January, we got to do 4 shows with Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Yeah, that's
Backing
amazing.
up Steve, it was so much fun. It was a really good time. It's just amazing to see how they work and how intense they are about everything they do, and that's why they have the celebrity status that they do. They're just so good. They were continually tweaking the show the entire time we were there with them, and asking, now, is this funny? Do you all think this is funny? And it was cool to see that the crew, who's been with them for a really long time, were still laughing, through the rehearsals and through the shows each night. So it was really fun.
That's
I had to
great.
keep myself grounded by just saying, this guy named Steve asked us to come back him up. And he's a really good banjo player, which he is. He's really good. Scrug style and clawhammer. He's great. He's got a new single out too, so check that out.
Hey.
Steve Martin and the Steep Canyon Rangers. It's called California.
Oh, good. I'll look forward to that as well. I just went up.
I will say something, Kelly. We're super excited about the fact that not only is she going to be here on March the 7th, but she's also going to be recording live. They're filming and recording live at South Jackson.
We are, and we just really hope that everybody out there will come out and be with us and be part of that studio audience and cheer us on. We do better when people hoop and holler for us. We like that. We thrive on that. But we are filming it. We're going to just trying to get some content for our YouTube channel.
Okay. Now, of course, I set up an expectation that may not be, you can't confirm or deny, but let's assume that they are the First Ladies of Bluegrass are not going to be your special guests for Are there anything in the work? I mean, can you say you are at least looking down the line to work with these ladies
with the First
again?
Ladies?
Yeah.
You know, there are lots of things that we're kicking around and talking about. Nothing that I can talk about right now.
Yeah, so many schedules
you know,
to collaborate.
I just ask everybody to please check my website, because I will post anything as soon as it's available. I'll also make mention of things on the social media, and you can get to all of our social pages from my webpage, and that's just BeckyBuller.com, and Buller is spelled just like it sounds, B as in boy, U-L-L-E-R, BeckyBuller.com. All our shows are there. We've got videos and links to all our social pages. Can I tell them about the ticket giveaway?
I was about to go there, but you feel free to.
All right, so next Monday, I believe that's February 24th, we will be doing a ticket giveaway. We have a ticket giveaway this week on Twitter, and starting the 24th, we'll be giving away tickets on Instagram. So we're just giving away a couple pairs of tickets to bring some folks out to South Jackson on March 7th to see us perform, and just thank you to everybody for considering coming out. I mean, there's a lot of entertainment options and a lot of different ways you spend your time and your money, and we just appreciate y'all coming out to see us.
Okay. Well, when we come back from the break, you know, I talked a lot about these ladies that you've been performing with, but we also want to talk about the people you perform with on a regular basis, your band, and hear a little bit about what you brought to us here in the studio. In fact, we probably need to meet another family member, that violin.
Yes.
So we'll do that when we come back right after this. And welcome back to Talking Tullahoma. Once again, I'm Kelly Lepchinsky. I'm here with multiple award-winning bluegrass artist Becky Buller. And as we went to the break, I suggested we were going to have to meet another one of her family members. Oh, it's still here. I was going to say she switched instruments.
Oh, no.
But your violin has been around for a little while and has a name.
Yes. So this is Leopold, and I named him after Hugh Jackman's character in the movie Kate and Leopold, which had come out around the time that I got this fiddle.
Is there any particular connection that the violin reminds you of Hugh Jackman in some way?
No. Well, I mean, you know, they're both luscious and lovely.
There you go.
Yes. but we call the fiddle the old man because he's about 200 years old. And I got him at Universal Chevrolet in Cleveland, Georgia.
A car dealership.
A car dealership, yes.
Okay, how does that work?
Exactly, I know. So they had a festival and concert series on the back lot at the car dealership, and the band I was with, they come down to play, and Mitch Simpson, who owned the dealership, is a fantastic mandolin player, and he dealt in instruments upstairs. So one of my fiddle heroes, Aubrey Haney, had brought this fiddle in with a bunch of other stuff to get a Tahoe for his wife. And he'd, you know, traded instruments and kicked in cash and whatever. And I came in the next day, I played this fiddle for 10 minutes, and I said, I have to have this. I just love this. And so Mitch did a deal with me actually to get both of these instruments. This guitar, it's about a 1931 Gibson LO. So I got the guitar and the fiddle. I traded for the fiddle that I had at the time, and had to kick in $500 extra for it.
Yeah, not too bad though. Eh?
Yeah, these go with me
Yeah.
just about everywhere.
Good deal. All right, well, we're going to hear you play on both of these instruments, but before I let you start, I do want to say we mentioned a couple of your bandmates.
Yes.
And I'd like to make sure we don't
Yeah.
overlook them.
Sure.
So you've got another one of them that's a county native for this
Yes,
event, right?
Daniel Harden, and he lives just outside of Tullahoma and works at Jack Daniel's most of the time in the bottling plant. But they let him off to come play music with us, and there's a picture of him looking all handsome. But see, we have a nickname for him. We call him the Hulk, because when he gets to play and he gets excited, he gets into it, and he kind of turns green and starts snarling, and we try to keep up with him. But his mom is going to kill me when she sees that I brought that picture along with me. Anytime I post that on social media, she'll comment on it and say, no, why do you keep posting this picture? He's so handsome.
We always like to play our part in murderizing
Thank you.
popular artists.
And then we've got a couple guys that live in the Nashville area. Ned Lou Barecki, who's the 2018 IBMA Banjo Player of the Year and one of our favorite voices on Sirius XM Satellite Radio's Bluegrass Junction. And he's a banjo, I already said banjo player. And then Nate Lee is with us on the mandolin. He is a 2015 IBMA Award winner, Momentum Award winner for instrumentalist. And then we've got Professor Dan Boner on the guitar. And Professor Dan is the head of the Bluegrass and Country Music program at East Tennessee State University in Johnson City. And then rounding it out, we've got C.J. Garskoff with us on the sound. He's and sometimes he'll sit in with us on bass when Daniel can't make it. You know.
Nice. Okay, so I have mentioned, of course, numerous awards. I mentioned that you had the vocal and the instrumental, but what I didn't also say is you have 2 Grammys for songwriting. So now we're going to put all that together. And what would you like to play for us today?
Sure. I'm going to do a song that's on my Cray Paper Heart record. It's a gospel tune that I wrote with Jeff Hyde, who is part of Eric Church's road band. And Jeff has written some really big country hits that, mostly songs that Eric has sung, but for other artists, including George Strait. And other ones are escaping me right now, but he's a really prominent songwriter in country music right now, but went through the Bluegrass and Country Music program down at South Plains College in Levelland, Texas. And anyway, we wrote this one together called Speaking to That Mountain. I'm speaking to that mountain, and brother, I believe God above can move it, but He might want to move me. Trials and tribulations mark the path of life, from pebbles in my shoes to boulders I can't climb. But what may seem like stumbling blocks standing in my way are just a few more stepping stones to help me build my faith. I'm speaking to that mountain, and brother, I believe God above can move it, but He might want to move me. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, faced with that fiery furnace so many years ago. They said, Nebuchadnezzar, our God can bring us through, but even if He doesn't, we're never gonna bow to you. I'm speaking to that mountain, and brother, I believe God above can move it, but He might want to move me. They're saying He won't make it, we should end it now. But we know God has reasons for all that He allows. We're praying through the anguish, not our will, but Thy be done. All the while still pleading, Father, heal our son. I'm speaking to that mountain, brother, I believe God above can move it, but He might want to move me. Oh, I'm speaking to that mountain, and
brother, I believe. God above can move it, but he might want to move me.
I feel very, very privileged to be sitting right here while you do that. But it does bring up a question. That song reminds me of something we haven't really touched on, is you hit gospel quite a bit in what you do. You sort of meld a lot of
Yeah, I
styles.
love that bluegrass allows me to do that. For the time being, anyway. You know, gospel music has always been an important part of bluegrass music. So yeah, we've been known to sing a murder ballad and then turn right around to a gospel song, you know, and kind of make up for the murder ballad. But I love that. I mean, we do lots and lots of story songs, and we just sing about life. There's, you know, we're physical, we're spiritual beings, and I just love that bluegrass allows me to explore all of that.
Well, good. Now, you right now probably are to a point where most of the songs that you're playing are your own, or do you still do a lot of covers?
We do some covers. We like to include songs that you may have heard of, or songs that are part of the beautiful bluegrass canon of music. You know, like when we see you at South Jackson on March 7th, we will throw in a Reno and Smiley song. And you know, they were real big in the 50s and 60s in bluegrass music. But most of what we're going to be doing are songs that either I or members of the band have written or co-written.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to do one more segment because I'd like to come back and talk about how much you still write for other people as well, if that's still part of it.
Sure,
We'd
yeah.
like to hear you do another song, maybe on Leopold there.
Sure.
And we'll do that when we come back after
Okay.
this. All right, welcome back to Talking Tullahoma. I'm Kelly Lepchinsky. Once again, I'm here with bluegrass artist Becky Buller, who has been performing a little bit for us here in the studio today, but will also be performing here in town at the South Jackson Civic Center on March 7th, just a day after you've played at the Station Inn, and just, I don't know, what is that, a month, 2 months before Bonnaroo, a couple months before Bonnaroo.
Right.
So you're going to be at Bonnaroo this, have
We
you been
are.
there before?
We're going to be at the Jesus Tent out in Pod 9 in the campground, and that is put together by a coalition of churches in the area, as well as a mission organization for the whole state of Tennessee. There's a group that's come from North Carolina to do the overnight shift. I mean, they get people from all over to be part of this. It's a really special thing. That's the Jesus Tent at Bonnaroo. We'll be there during the worship service on June 14th. And we've got a campaign going right now. We're trying to get Kanye West to come in and speak about his faith during the worship service at the Jesus Tent and sing a song with me and the band.
Yes, his last appearance at Bonnaroo really well, I think.
Right, exactly. So, but things, you know, it sounds like things have changed for him, so we'd love to hear about it.
Well, good
So,
deal.
you know, check out our social media pages for that. There's more coming about that.
Now, have you done Bonnaroo before? Is this going to be a first time for you?
This
or-
is I want to say this is our 4th year at the Jesus Tent.
Oh, wow,
So,
okay.
Yeah, we play during the worship service, 10 a.m. on a Sunday, and so that'll be June 14th this year. And we do a couple sets of bluegrass, and you know, we play everything from traditional to very progressive bluegrass music. So we throw in all of that, and then usually there's you know, Pastor Jake over at First Baptist. He spoke last year. David Evans, who's an evangelist, has spoken a couple years before that. You know, just gives a really cool low key way to have church, and it's a very Bonnaroo way to have church. It's really fun. If you've never been, you need to come and experience the Jesus Tent. It's really cool.
Well, good deal. And it's not your first time at South Jackson. I think we mentioned that when
No.
Greg was here.
Yeah,
But so
yeah.
you're sort of hitting some repeat places. That's nice. Got to be a little bit of
Good.
comfort
It's always,
there.
always
Yeah.
great to be invited back. It's we like that.
Well, good. Now, we
Yeah.
mentioned songwriting going into the break, and I know that you did say earlier in the program that it's just harder as you get to be more and more in demand to find that time. But songwriting is almost church for you in a way, is it not?
It is part of, yes, it's part of my religious experience, and I do write a lot of gospel songs, but I write about all sorts of things. I mean, I will follow where the muse leads. You know, one of my favorite songs that I've written wound up being the title cut of my first album with Dark Shadow Recording. The title of that album is Tween Earth and Sky, and it comes from a song called Didn't Die, and it's a ghost telling, like, she's going to get revenge for being murdered. So it's, you know, it's pretty dark, but you know, I love, and in fact, my producer said, what is your dad going to say when he hears this song? And I'm like, I don't care. I really want to record this song. I just love the story, you know. So I love telling stories.
Do you still write them for other people at all, or is it just
I
now, as
do.
many, when I crank them out, they got to be for me?
No, I do. I have ones that I keep for myself. Like, I just know going into it, this is one I want to sing myself. I have other songs where, you know, maybe I started writing it for somebody else. I'm like, you know, I really want to keep this one for me. And it's fun now. I'm getting to record a lot more than I used to, you know. Just like in the last 5 years, I'm getting to record more than I ever did before. I have a couple albums from 2000 and 2003, I think. I have a couple albums from back then, but I still write with other artists in mind, and I keep a running list of song ideas on my phone, and I'll put a little note behind, like, write with so-and-so or write for so-and-so. Like, certain ideas make me think of a certain artist, and so I'll put that on my list so that when I circle back around to it, I'm like, oh yeah.
And the list could be the back of a styrofoam cup.
I've done that, yes. You're following my social media. Thank you very much.
Yes, if the paper
And
is
I
not
finally
available, it's in the
finished.
back of the van.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I finally finished that song too, and I'm keeping that one for myself.
Well, good deal.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hear one of these songs that you would like to share with us.
Sure.
Played on Leopold.
I was just going to do an old fiddle tune. This is a Bill Monroe number. Kenny Baker recorded it on Kenny Baker Plays Bill Monroe, which is an album that every bluegrass fiddler needs to know. This is called Road to Columbus, and thank you again for having me.
Well, I don't think we can get much better than that. We don't want to give away the whole show, so let's just remind people they can see you live March 7th, South Jackson Civic Center. And again, remind us, what was that ticket giveaway? How does that work?
Okay, so check out our Instagram page, Twitter. If you're watching it, if you're watching this this week, go to my Twitter page, and that's Fiddler Becky B. On Twitter. And if you're watching this next week, starting February 24th, we will be giving away one more set of tickets on our Instagram page. That's Becky Buller Band. But you can get to all of our social media pages through my website, beckybuller.com.
All right. Well, we are so glad to have you. Singer, songwriter, award winner, mom, wife, you know, good for you, band leader. You know, you've got it all going on, and we
Wear a
really
lot of
appreciate
hats.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time
Thank you
to
for
come out
having
and be
me.
out with us
Thank
today.
you.
So we will see you next time here on Talkin' Tullahoma. Thanks so much for watching.